Welcome, team. Good to see you all. It's been a while. We've kind of stayed in touch a little bit here and there through group text messaging, and we had a Zoom last week where we just tried to catch up a little bit. But we thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of follow suit with a lot of other people and jump on this virtual platform where we can kind of give an update on what we're doing as a team, what you guys are doing individually as riders during this downtime in our season. And so we're going to kind of mimic kind of a roundtable-like scenario here and just kind of go around, ask a couple questions to each of you, see how you're going. But this specifically is, going out to all of our supporters. So we certainly want to start off by thanking all of them for all their support this season. And during this downtime, just kind of on our side and kind of the unknown that's out there right now. But we certainly want to give them an update to all of our sponsors and financial supporters of the team. Just quick thank you again for all their support. And we hope that this update kind of gives you a little bit of perspective and shed some light on kind of how we've been doing these last several weeks and months and kind of what we're looking forward to the rest of this summer and what's going to happen. So thanks for jumping on. Bubba, I'll start with you with kind of the first question being what kind of give our sponsors an update on what your activities look like every day. I mean, what's your daily routine look like now?
Well, as soon as we got shut down from the first race, we thought we were going to go racing in a couple weeks. So it was, okay, we'll just take an extra week or two to get ready, and then, make sure we're all the little kinks we had to work out. It's time to get those worked out and be ready for the next couple of races. And then we found out, of course, that wasn't happening. So for myself, I just switched to preseason mode because I knew we were going to go racing sooner or later, and I knew I had a lot of work to do. The start of the season for myself, I wasn't, too happy at all with. So, kind of pressed the reset button, didn't take any time off, just kept working. And, people like to say, oh, now it's time to get ready. But yeah, I looked at it a way just to stay ready and be sharper than ever coming off the season, 7 rounds in, and saying, okay, now we know all those little areas we need to improve on. So let's take the time and really capitalize on this, because most of the time at the end of the season, people are done with Supercross. So I was, let's take this opportunity to, have a mid-season or a post-season testing time. And so right now I'm feeling super confident. We did a lot of suspension testing, some chassis changes, a lot of work on myself mentally and physically. So, if we go into this new round one, if you will, I'm super confident and super ready for whenever that is. So just day to day, week to week, we're keep grinding and never back off on the Supercross program.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's a good strategy to have. And I think, maybe we'll talk a little bit about this, but I think that it's easier for someone like you and at least probably Scotty as well to make a decision like that, because, the plan as a team is, Supercross, and we don't really have the plan to do the outdoor nationals as a team. And so it's probably an easier decision, whereas some of your competitors, and other teams are riding both seasons or series, so they're kind of toggling between, testing outdoors and trying to prepare themselves for kind of both series and potentially navigating both series at the same time now, the way it looks like things could play out. So it's a little bit easier of a decision. So yeah, I think maybe it probably would give a little bit better of an advantage for a team like us, maybe to continue our focus on Supercross like nothing's ever changed. So, Scotty, I'll go to you. Same question. What's give everyone an update on what your day-to-day looks like now?
After Indy got canceled, I wasn't sure what was going on. Like Bubba said, we're under the impression that we were going to be racing possibly pretty soon. So I was still a little beat up from Atlanta, my crash there. So I took off the bike for about 5 days, just kind of let my body feel all the way back to normal. And then when I went back to riding Supercross for a couple weeks. And then once we got the word that we were pretty much it was looking like it was going to be after outdoors for us for Supercross, start middle September. I was like, well, we have a lot of time. And I didn't want to just stay full Supercross because I didn't want to put almost like too much going in. And then if we were going to start back to a normal 7-week schedule, because that's what it looked like then. And plus I want to do some racing during the summer, because whether it's outdoors or Supercross or whatever, I like to go do some racing. So I threw some outdoor suspension in my bike and did a little bit of just outdoor testing, get a good setting, and then had a plan of riding maybe outdoor stuff through June. And then once July started, July, August, full Supercross, almost like what would be November, December on a normal schedule. And then we got word that we might be racing here pretty soon. So I've fiddled on the Supercross track and got it. Everything's ready to go pretty much for if we race here. And now they're saying it would be like June 1st if we do the races in Phoenix. So pretty much just waiting on the call, and body's feeling better. No more stiffness in the back from crashing, and been riding a bunch. So I'm pretty ready to go. I don't know. I hope they, I don't know. I'm almost worried that once everything opens back up, that every event or sporting or whatever that uses venues that we race in is going to be jam packed. So, man, if we can get started and get it done, and then that way we have, more of a normal schedule as possible, I think that would probably be best. I think it'd be cool to race in the fall, but if that chances we can't, because it's hard to find stadiums and stuff, and there's other stuff that goes on, whether it's like trade shows and stuff like that, sports venues, not just sports. So all that stuff has been put on hold, and they're all going to want to open back up and get going again. So I'm almost kind of hoping we can knock them out here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'd say it's really kind of a crapshoot on how this kicks back off. With the rumors of the beginning of June, it kind of almost, with the latest outdoor schedule that was announced, several weeks back, it almost gives you the impression that they're either going to try to cram them all in really quickly, or there may be some sort of transition in between the two series. So yeah, it's interesting, but I can certainly echo what you said. I think we're all ready to get back. It's kind of just feels like unfinished business out there. So, Joanne, what about you, man? First of all, where the heck are you?
In Spain. Now here in Spain is a little bit more crazy, the situation, than US, I think, and the restrictions are a little bit more higher. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult. Last day I rode was in Baba's home after Indy. So it's like about, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks now, probably. And I don't remember if the first gear is down or up. I don't remember the the switcher. No, but I'm just waiting. Probably next Monday we can start to ride here in Spain. So now these weeks, like 6-7 weeks, was a little bit like holidays for the body. No, not everybody. Not for my mind, because you are thinking, if you are not fit, if you need to go to ride now, you don't know if you will race in September or you will race in May, but like it's a good rest for the body, probably till I am pro. When I started to be pro till now, it's the first time ever that I stay like 7 weeks or 8 weeks without riding, if I'm not hurt, I'm not injured, because when you are injured, it's not like a resting, because at least me, always I'm like making 2 recovery sessions a day for a fast recovery, and always is like try to pushing and pushing. So now it's the first time maybe in 15 years that the body is like resting. So maybe it's not bad, because you can heal, all the injuries. My knee is still a little bit, I have a little bit pain. I start to running a little bit, but I have a little bit pain from the crash, after St. Louis. So I don't know, maybe it's good for me for the resting, but I'm ready. I just want that. Personally, I prefer to start racing in September than now because we will have more time. In the summer, probably we will have the Spanish Championship, so will be like a little bit pre-season for the U.S. Championship. And also, if we know the schedule with more time, I can go to Baba's home early than like this season because I think with Baba, no Baba, I came to California like 9 days before Anaheim this year. So if I can come before this year a little bit early, will be better, for staying in shape for the first race. I think, yeah, we talked about that the other day. I was feeling every good before Indy, and the last weeks I was in shape and I was feeling good and more confident. So we need to try that when we will restart the championship. I will start again in the same shape, in the same speed and in the same feet minimum. So we have a lot of work to do, and I hope we have time for do it. So for that, I prefer to ride in September for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have already kind of said it, the latest rumors, they've already changed since last week when we talked. They were looking at like a mid-May potential from what the rumors said. And now it looks like May 31st, June 1st timeframe. I'll stay with you, Juan, on this question. This is very specific to you. I mean, you're completely in another country right now. And that timeline, if that in fact, I have to imagine that when the decision is final, it's likely that there's not going to be a whole lot of time to be prepared. Maybe only a few weeks before the first race of the return happens. Are you concerned? Are you concerned to get back here to the States? What's that look like being in another country and being in Spain where the restrictions, as you said, are higher? Do you have any concerns about returning if it happens that quickly?
I think we don't know nothing now. Probably we will, if I need to come like now in May, will be a little bit head pain, for the papers and ask a lot of things probably can fly to US because I don't know if they let to fly the people from Spain, but here now the airports are closed and we have only like, I think some specific flights each day for special, I don't know, special travels on these things. So I don't know. Probably I can come if I need to come, but yeah, will be a little bit head pain and a lot of calls and try to ask favors and these things. So yeah, but I think that's not the worst part. Probably for me, the worst part is the last 7 weeks. Sorry, I was staying home. So yeah, when you want to stay in the high level and you stay 7 weeks with not riding and nothing, it's not easy to come back. And I want to come back stronger. So yeah, I wish that, and I hope that we don't race till September.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, that's a hard position to be in, for sure. So, well, rest assured, I've made a return back onto a motorcycle, and if I need to fill in for you for a little while, I'll do that.
Yeah, I seen some videos from you.
Yeah, it's not that good. I don't think I could carry this team by any means. So, or at least carry your position on the team for sure. So, anyways, Bubba, what about you? I mean, you said that you've been staying sharp on Supercross. Just transitioning here into the comments about the June 1st start, where you left the season prior to Indy to now. How do you feel as far as just your confidence and where you feel like you should be stacking up again for this next round that we end up hitting?
I'll just let you know what I did Monday. Sorry. 2 days ago, I did a race day format and I set a couple goals for myself. And using my Lit Pro if my lap time reached into a certain range. That was like a night show range, main event range, top 10 range. And I was between 20th and 10th in the main event on what my goal was for the range on the lap time. So, that's for myself. I said, hey, if I get my lap time in this moto down to this point, then that's going to be good enough to make the main today. So, just trying to replicate things the best I can, build confidence, and put in the work. I mean, that's like I said before, I didn't want to take any downtime with any opportunity that I have. So, I didn't make any main events yet this season prior to the shutdown. So, let's run through some drills and simulate getting into the top 20 and getting comfortable with it. So that's definitely a goal, when we come back. And for myself, the work I've been doing, I don't have any excuse not to do that. So from where I was at Indy to where I'm at now, I honestly night and day. I'm more motivated, more hungry, more comfortable, more fit. So yeah, I know it kind of sucks for guys like Juan, but for myself, the sooner the better. I'm ready to go. But same time in the field, there's a lot of guys that are ready to go too. Some guys come back from injury that they weren't racing earlier in the season. So it's not gonna be any easier. But it's never easy in this game.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting tactic to kind of do that simulation based training. That's interesting. It's really cool. I think that mimics a lot of other things outside of the profession of even dirt bike racing, but even auto sports too, I think, or just any kind of motorsports. It's I think it's an interesting tactic you're taking to try to, stimulate those environments that when you return and kind of trying to gauge yourself and where you are. So that's cool to kind of hear you're taking that approach, because I think that might be different than a lot of people. Scotty, for you, we talked a little bit about this last week on our team call, but this little break has probably been somewhat of a blessing for you to kind of recover as well. Like Juan, you had a couple get-offs this season already, and one really nasty one, for those who don't know that's watching this, in Atlanta on the tunnel jump. Maybe just quickly give a high level of that crash, and and also comment on how you feel right now as far as just recovering from some of those I don't want to say injuries, but just some of the maybe the pain and just uncomfortability that you've had this season with some of those get-offs.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't injured. I was just, beat up. I landed on a tough block on the top of the tunnel. The last one right before it drops off to the landing, I just got cross-righted coming out of a 90-degree turn in Atlanta. Bike stuck, went over the bars, landed flat to my back. And just my back and stuff was tore up, just stiff and, no injuries, no nothing, just beat up. And then I took that week off, went to Daytona. It was sore at Daytona, but not really hindering me or anything. But it was just after Daytona, it was, for a couple of days I felt beat up again. So I was kind of like, I just got to recover during the week and then race on the weekends for maybe a few weeks until it gets better. And then Indy got canceled. So I took almost a week off the motorcycle, and I just did some more gentle stretching and gentle cycling, stuff like that. Kind of just stayed off the back, but try to keep blood flow pumping to the tight injured area. And then after that, right now I feel good. Everything's healed up. I ride as much as I need to when there's no lingering issues from any crashing or nothing. So that's been good, and kind of been doing a similar deal. Haven't been doing on the Supercross track, but on my outdoor loops I have out here and some private tracks I've been riding at, just kind of racing myself on the Lit Pro, like try to set some laps and then kind of break them down and try to improve on them and do some shorter, maybe like 10-minute motos where I try to get a good lap in and set a faster lap time, and then go from there. And once I beat my lap time, then maybe throw out a longer 20-minute moto and try to sustain it a certain percentage close to my lap time for my average time. So I'm consistent through the moto. And then once I have a good moto at that, then I try to beat the lap time again. So it's pretty much what I've been doing, and just trying to keep intensity up and stuff like that, and kind of waiting for a schedule so I can kind of solidify a plan, whether we're racing in a month or we're racing in September.
So, Jawan, for you, there's a couple things you've talked about, and the biggest one that stands out, obviously, is the fact that you've not been able to really get on the bike right now because of, the more restrictions that you're under with being in Spain right now during this time. So, when you think about how you left the season so far, where you were in the standings as far as just kind of, the pulp standings, for those that don't know that are watching this, there's a privateer challenge that, pretty much our entire team is in a running for, where there's some financial rewards for placing in this privateer challenge where they could get a check, a payout for it. And so Juwan, leading up into this break, has been hovering around near the top, and actually was in the top position before the Indianapolis round got canceled. So right now, technically speaking, you're leading that series or that challenge right now with however many rounds left to go, and you're not riding the bike right now because of those restrictions. How do you feel about your return? What's the goal? Is the goal changed? I mean, you said before the series got canceled or postponed that the goal was to make the main events. You didn't care as much about this privateer challenge that could ultimately have maybe a pretty good payout. You weren't really worried about that because the goal was to always make main events and compete, against the top guys. Is that changed now? Like, or do you have a different mindset coming back into the season? What's your game plan, I guess?
No, I mean, if you look like for the budget, the best for me is that they canceled the championship and I won the Pulp MX show. But honestly, I prefer to race. I prefer to race, and if we can do in September, better. And yeah, the goal is, start the first race minimum at the same shape that we had in Daytona, and try to make the main. For sure, if you're riding good and you ride good and you do good, if you don't make the main, you will be in the top of the Pulp MX show, so championship. So goal is be better every day and start to grow up every day and every year. So if we do the job and we ride good, you will make the main or you will win the Pulp MX show. So one of each other. We need to try to make one of these two. Try to don't be the second in the Pulp MX show, because that means that you don't make the main either. So
that's a good outlook. Yeah, I was just curious where your mind was with that, because if I was in that position, I mean, I'm not, so it's hard for me to answer that question. But I guess if I were sitting in your shoes, having not ridden and not knowing when you're going to be able to get on the bike and how soon before the next race, it would be hard. I'd be trying for the position of getting into the main, but you also gotta, that's got to be sitting in your mind a little bit, because not only does it have a payout, which may or may not be that great, we don't know yet, but at least it gives you some exposure. There's some social media talk about it, and Bubba's obviously climbing that chart now too, and he's on there as well. So if nothing else, it does give you a little bit of exposure as well. So yeah, I was just curious where your thought was on that. So I guess, Bubba, how about you? Maybe kind of same question. I mean, now that you had a couple of, your performances have been improving the last few rounds before the break. Where's your head at with your return? You seem like you're feeling more confident because you're spending a lot more time on the bike right now, and you've done some testing to kind of take advantage of this downtime. So what's your mentality when we return?
Like I said before, just to, be better than we were before. I'm pretty confident that's going to happen. And looking back on it from where we're at now with the changes we made, I don't know how I rode like I did with what I was doing before. So, to go out, just be ready to go, fired up. I watched the replay of the race the other day, and I was just like, let's go. Like, let's train, let's go, let's be ready. Like I said, I'm not really waiting. I'm just continuing to better myself every opportunity I can. If we race in 4 weeks, that's 4 weeks to better myself. If we race in 6 months, that's six months to better myself. So obviously, if it's a 6-month window, you kind of increment things, space things a little differently. But if there's a rumor of saying 4 weeks, then it's 4 weeks. Let's go. I don't want to go racing and say, oh man, I wish I would have started a week early. So I have the tools and the track here at home, and I have everything that I need to be ready. So then no excuses at this point. Let's go. Whenever it's here, we'll give everything we got and shoot. I mean, we invested our whole lives into this game, so I don't think waiting around is an option for myself. So I want to continue to do this and the full capacity as long as I can. So I'm not gonna take any breaks or nothing. And like I said, I got the opportunity. Obviously, if you're on a home lockdown, that's a little different. But in our backyard, we pretty much do whatever we want here. So I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. We'll start to bring this to a close because we wanted to keep it short and do a quick update. But I got one more question that's a little bit of a change of topics, kind of. It's not so much centered around yourselves individually, but more just kind of a unique question, I guess, for all of our supporters. One of the things, Bubba, as you being the team owner, you've put a lot of pride and a lot of emphasis in creating a certain appearance in the pits and using a lot of the support that we get from our supporters to create an image and maybe even a unique structure with our team to kind of stand out. I'm leading up to my question, but we have we don't like to use the term privateer, but for a small budget race team, I think we have a really good footprint in the pits when you compare ourselves with others and that are much larger teams. So my question is, I guess, for all three of you, to kind of put you on the spot, what's your favorite thing about our pit setup or our team, I guess, in general? I'm thinking more appearance, but what do you like most about our setup or our team structure? But if you have something that's not appearance based and maybe it's just team dynamic, that's fine too. But ultimately, like, just maybe some comments about how you think this year we look and feel and kind of some of the build out that we have in the pits and how good we look. Bubba, how about you first?
For myself, a couple pieces there that kind of bring it together, but I guess because the majority of my vision and what I want to do, what we have experienced for sponsors, supporters, fans, everybody involved to try to create an experience in the pits, and doing that with I like to think a pretty strict team structure. At least we're working towards that every year, every race. We're getting more structured, making sure that people are on the same note, having debriefing calls every week, pre-race meetings. I've rode for other teams, and you show up to the race and you just show up and do your thing. Like, what's the point of that? Nobody's working together. So, that, and of course doing it on the budget that we're doing, to have a 3-rider team and a 60-foot length of pit presence on the budget that we do it for 17 rounds in the 450 class blows any other team out of the water. What they need to operate on and what we operate on it's night and day. They don't even compare. So for myself, I take a lot of pride in looking back and saying, like, hey, we did this on this budget, we had this structure, a lot of things that a lot of teams aren't doing, even some pretty big well-known teams that have a lot of personnel that they don't they skip out on a lot of stuff. And for myself, it's growing. You know, I'm not saying, hey, this is great, we don't need to do anything. No, let's make it better. Let's make it bigger, better, more efficient. And over the last couple of years, we've done that for sure. And I'm excited to keep growing with it. And but at the same time, last little bit of this is the bottom line is we do this to go racing to get results. So if we're not getting better results, then there's no point of doing it. You know, if we're not growing and getting better and putting in all this work, then, you know, we need to stick with that. So, yeah, just being efficient, being structured, having good experience for everybody involved, and being professional. And it's a big bundle. Everything's got to work together, and you got to have people wanting to work together, and just got to build and grow.
Yeah, all really good points. And, you know, to kind of even emphasize what you were saying is, you know, obviously I have a lot more transparency to the operations of the team, being a part of the team this season. And I can honestly say that I would venture out to guess that we are one of the most leanest teams out there as well. We make a lot of smart decisions, and I think a lot of decisions that we make are just easy ones for us that are oftentimes maybe harder for other teams, because there's just there's a lot more, I guess, hurdles to go through, and a lot more probably chiefs, I guess, the old saying, chiefs and Indians, right? There's a lot more chiefs probably that are pulling on certain directions and images, and it makes it a lot more difficult. Whereas we have a vision, a common vision, and core principles, I think, that really allow us to all see the same path. And it's kind of unique what we get to do with what we have. And I think it sets us apart for sure in the pits. So for those supporters who have not made it to a race before, or at least this season, to really see our image, I really wanted to kind of tease that out and let you explain that. And I want to hear from Scotty and Juwan as well, what their opinion is. But, you know, we appreciate everyone that supports us, because it allows us to do the things that we do, but also allows us to really create a unique presence in the pit and change the perception of a small budget race team in the sport that we're in with Supercross. So Scotty, how about you? What's the biggest thing that sticks out with the team for you?
For me, last year, being the first full year being part of Bubba's program, was the pit setup. Like, we looked really, really good for a smaller team, and like just cruising through the pits. Like, I kind of like to do a run on the way back from track walk, kind of get warmed up before we head out for free practice. I'm just looking around at the other teams and stuff, and I'm just like, man, we look better than most of them, and no one really looks better than us. So for last year, for me, it was the pit setup, and that's all the same for this year as well. So for me this year, I'm more excited about how we look on the track, head to toe in our gear. We were able to come together with more team deals with goggles and helmets, so we look really sharp on the track, and obviously those bikes look good as well. So for me this year, it's our on track.
Awesome. Yeah, I would agree with that. Juwan, what about you? What's one thing that you like about the team, the appearance, or just the structure of our team? What do you like? What stands out?
For me, my favorite is the team. It's like a family. No more every time, every day, more than the first day. You know, it's like more like a family. It remembers me a little bit like here in Spain, that my team is a family team, and the pit is pretty close. That the pit that we have in the outdoors than the one we have here in the Supercross in US. So all is pretty close. You know, the way we work, it's pretty much the same also. So and I like this. I like also when Baba and me, we can travel together and we can train together all days. So that's really good, because you have it's really that's really a teammate, right? Because sometimes in almost all the teams, the riders, they see him want to each other only in the races. And I think, like, if you are a teammate, you know, and you can ride all days together and training and push and try to catch our goals. So I think that's more like a team and more like a family. So I like that, because like in Spain, I have it always the team, and we are also family. But I didn't have it any rider that the same level of me for ride and training, so that's really good. And obviously the in all the things, team is better than last year. So that's incredible thing. And always like you, Ryan, is your first year, but you try to improve and to be better also always. And like Baba also is always thinking in which way the team can be better or how we can do the things better. So that's really good because not all the teams, think about that. A lot of people can say, okay, we have the budget and we are good like this, so it's done. And the team, it's always try to improve. And also I think like this year, all the sponsors are really close with almost all the sponsors, like or Thomas or Ronnie Paparoni or Ted and the Double Eagle guys, the Jonesboro guys, all the sponsors I think are pretty close. And I don't know, I can't say now all the sponsors because we are lucky, we have a lot, but I think we are pretty close with all the sponsors. They are happy with our work in the social media and with also. So yeah, I'm proud to be here and to be in this team.
Yeah, well said. All right. Well, any closing comments? I'll let each of you kind of have a closing comment here. But anything you want to say, Bubba, in closing?
Yeah. I mean, kind of overview everything. We're ready to go racing whenever that time is. And everybody that's involved in our team, everybody plays such an important part. Whether you're at the entry level of support or you're our top supporter from over the last handful of years. Thank you. This wouldn't. There's always a challenge, but it wouldn't go through, and it takes every piece and every person to make it go around. So you guys, riders, and Ryan, and all the sponsors, supporters, even somebody that just jumps in and lends a hand here and there. If you're passionate about motocross and you respect our vision and our goal, then thank you.
Yep. Well said. Scotty?
Thanks to all our team supporters, all our partners, all our sponsors for supporting us throughout the season and also as well through this weird unscheduled break that we've all as a planet had to take. And man, let's go racing. Hopefully we get a word of just a plan so we can figure it out. So I want to get all the races in, so whatever that takes, whether that's in a month or that's 5 months, let's just get a plan so we can do it, and we can get Juan back over here, and so he can prepare with the rest of us.
Amen to that. Scott, Juwan, how about you, man? Any closing comments?
No, pretty much the same. No, we can't say thank enough to all the people that supports the team. But I feel that everybody supports the team. Like, feel that he's making a good thing, and I feel that they are happy about the work of all the people from the team because I wish we can make mains and we can do better results. But I think that they all can see that we put our maximum always and we push 110% in all the laps. So they are happy because you can see when one guy is pushing or is giving his best always, like as a rider or as a mechanic or as team manager or whatever. But you can see when the guy he's giving his best, and I think everybody in the team always is giving his best. So I'm really happy to be in the team, and yeah, thanks to all the guys, and I wish I can come back soon and race again.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors and our supporters. from everyone that's, you know, a title sponsor all the way down to every one of you that just make this possible for us to go out there with the best equipment and compete with the best people in our sport. And as everybody had says just a few moments ago, that you know, we are certainly giving our full effort every time we're out there and trying to represent our team appropriately and represent all of you that support us. So thank you for all your continued support. We hope that you're following us along on this journey this season. If you haven't, we hope you tune in to some of these races when they return, and be sure to watch us and cheer us on. You know, look forward to writing those race reports again. You know, so that's something I look forward to, just kind of seeing the big picture of how we perform week in and week out, and the highs and the lows. So yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys all soon.